Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today's Monday, May 15th, 2023. Today, I'm going to recap the weekend NBA and Stanley Cup playoff games, look ahead to a Game 7 in the NHL tonight, and do some postmortems for the teams that were eliminated the last several days. MLB, soccer, golf, NASCAR, idol, news and notes, and best bet. All right, we'll start with the NBA playoffs. We have a couple of games to go over, and we don't have any games until tomorrow, so that's good. So we only had 3 games over the weekend. Friday night, Heat over the Knicks, 96-92, to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals for the third time in 4 years and the second year in a row. Jimmy Butler, 24 points. And Jalen Brunson, who was probably the best player in the series, but they lost. How often do you see that? Not very often. 41 points and 3 assists in defeat. Lakers over the Warriors, 122-101, as they win in 6 games and advance to the Western Conference Finals. Their first Western Conference Finals in 3 years, and their first one with fans in 13 years. LeBron James had 30 points and 9 assists. Stephen Curry, 32 points and 5 assists. And then Sunday, Game 7, Celtics win big over the 76ers, 112-88, to advance to their third Eastern Conference Finals in 4 years, to set up a rematch with the Miami Heat from last year and from the bubble. Jason Tatum, 51 points, 13 boards, 5 assists. He was easily the best player on the court. Tobias Harris led the Sixers in scoring with 19. Just a terrible performance for the 76ers in the second half in particular. And the second quarter, too. They had the good first quarter, and then they kind of fell apart in the second quarter, and it happened into the second half of the game. All right, we're going to do some eulogies now. We'll start with the Sixers because that's the more recent one. There's no other way around it. Their season is a big failure. To me, they were finals or bust because of Embiid and trading for James Harden. But I alluded to this earlier in the spring when the New York Rangers got eliminated. Sometimes adding a big-name star doesn't make a change to what your team is. And I'm referring to when the Rangers traded for Vladimir Tarasenko and Patrick Kane. So in the Rangers case, it's 2 stars. And here, the same damn thing. Like, you trade for James Harden and nothing freaking changes. Like, he's not the difference maker that you thought he was. I mean, we'll get into another one that lost in the postseason in a second. Although he did their postmortem the other day. But James Harden, I'm not convinced he's returning to the Sixers next year. Everyone thinks he's going to Houston to go back to the Rockets, which would be crazy. And I think the Rockets would be silly to do that. And I think they just are dysfunctional anyway. But at the same time, if they get Victor Wembanyama, do you really blame them for trying right away? It's like getting Peyton Manning. It's like getting LeBron James. That's what getting Victor Wembanyama is going to be like. It's like the Blackhawks landing Bedard last week. But you guys know my feelings on that already. I went on a rant about it. But anyway, the Sixers, I think, could be in for big change this summer. They could end up blowing it up and rebuilding entirely. And maybe even just building around Maxey, and even Embiid could be out the door. I mean, I think everything's on the table, and I think they're a huge wild card this summer. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Doc Rivers, I don't think is going to be back. I think that there's a chance he ends up in Milwaukee. And that would make sense for him because he went to Marquette. And the Ringers, Bill Simmons, threw that out as a possibility after the Bucks fired Mike Budenholzer. So, I don't think Doc's going to be back. And I think the only Sixers player, I mean, I don't think any Sixer players are guaranteed to be back, and that includes Tyrese Maxey. I mean, there's a world where Embiid sticks around and maybe the right star becomes available, and Maxey has to be in the package. Like, what if Luka or Giannis or one of these great stars becomes available? Then you have to give up Maxey to get him. I mean, Damian Lillard even, too. I mean, would you give up Maxey to get Lillard? I don't know. But that's another one that could be potentially available. So the Sixers are going to play for some of these big name stars. But at the flip side, it could go the other way, where Embiid's like, Harden's out of here, get me out of here. And then they trade him, and then they got to build around Maxey. So interesting times lie ahead for the Philadelphia 76ers. Another team that lost over the weekend was the Golden State Warriors. I'd say their season's a failure as well. You were the NBA champions, and a lot of people thought you were going to repeat. And even when you were a 6 seed, a lot of people thought you were going to repeat. But nope, you're out in the second round to a team that literally just came together at the trade deadline. But granted, one of the best 3 players in NBA history is on that team, so you got to tip your cap to the great LeBron James. But this is a failed season for the Warriors. The development of the kids, like, this is like a New York Rangers issue too, in a weird way, except it's like the opposite. Like, the Warriors stuck with their kids too much, and they didn't pan out. Meanwhile, the Rangers, their kids were a big part of them going to the conference finals last year. And this year they stopped playing them and they overplayed their top 6. And it was a problem. This is probably worse than that, honestly, if you ask me, because those kids just haven't worked out. Jonathan Kuminga looks like a bust. Moses Moody looks like a bust. James Wiseman was one of the bigger busts in recent memory, him and Marvin Bagley, in terms of super high lottery picks. So the Warriors' kids really haven't worked out, and that's a big reason why that this team hasn't been able to get over the hump. And at least for this year, last year they got away with it. But those kids' trade value is probably worse than it was a year ago. And I think they did miss an opportunity to cash in on those assets and get a bigger asset that could have helped them this season in their quest to repeat, and they failed to do that. I think the biggest guarantee going into next season is that Stephen Curry isn't going anywhere, and he'll never leave the Warriors. That would be the biggest shock in history of sports if Steph Curry left the Warriors. Because we see player movement all the time, but I think Stephen Curry is the most loyal superstar we have in sports. I genuinely believe that. Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, I'm not convinced will be Warriors next season. Especially Draymond. His antics, he punched Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole's another one I don't think will be back on the team. Klay will probably be back, although I wouldn't be shocked if he was traded or something. But Steve Kerr's an interesting one. I would not be dumbfounded if he looked at the situation and said, hey, all these other jobs are open. I have a better chance of one of these teams than I do with this Warriors team, and he leaves for another job. I don't see the Warriors firing Steve Kerr. That would be ridiculous if they did, because Steve Kerr has 4 rings. But I've seen stranger things happen. I think the Warriors and Steve Kerr might part ways. You never know. Bob Myers, though, is the big question. Does he come back or not? He's a free agent. A lot of teams are going to be going after him, especially some of these dysfunctional teams that are in need of a new voice. The Brooklyn Nets come to mind. Sean Marks has not done a good job at times. So I would not be shocked if Joe Tsai gets rid of Sean Marks to bring in Bob Myers. So that's one that comes to mind. Maybe Philadelphia ownership isn't happy with Morey. Maybe they get rid of him for Bob Myers. I don't see the Knicks getting rid of Leon Rose, especially after the year they've had, but we'll get to the Knicks in a second. The Toronto Raptors, I mean, would they part ways with Masai Ujiri and Masai go somewhere else and they hired Bob Myers? The Minnesota Timberwolves, would A-Rod be willing to make a move like that? Maybe Mark Cuban and the Dallas Mavericks. I think that would be the best landing spot for him if there were to make any changes. I would really be interested to see where Bob Myers would end up. I think the Lakers would have been in the conversation had they not been in this position, so similar to the Knicks in a way. I don't see the Celtics doing anything crazy like that either. So I wonder where he will end up, Bob Myers. And then the last team whose season ended over the weekend was the New York Knicks. They have had a very successful season, in my opinion. Nobody expected the Knicks to be in the top 5 of the East this season, let alone a playoff team. I think a lot of people expected them to be in the play-in tournament, but I don't think anybody had them in the top 6. I think I had them 7th in the East before the year, and then or 8th or 9th or something like that, and then I had them getting the 8th seed via the play-in tournament. I think that's where I had them before the year. But they got to be proud. Jalen Brunson was one of the best free agent signings, not only in Knicks history, but in NBA history. He was just simply amazing. He's a star, but not a superstar. I think he's on that level of star, kind of beneath the superstars. So that's where I would put Brunson. Julius Randle was good in the regular season, but faltered in the postseason again. I know he had an injured ankle, and some are using, some of his, defenders are using that as an excuse. But Julius Randle ain't using that as an excuse. He played poorly. Yeah, the ankle probably had something to do with that. But good on Julius Randle for not making that an excuse, unlike Joel Embiid crying how he wants help and Devin Booker literally not talking to the media. So at least those two superstars actually made Julius Randle look decent. For another bad comment he made, which was they wanted it more. He said that after Game 4. But two players that are clearly better than Julius Randle did worse things. I think he's the most likely player traded this summer from the Knicks. The answer would have been RJ Barrett before the playoffs, so now I think it's Julius Randle, because RJ Barrett really did make a jump in the playoffs from a production standpoint. He wasn't good in Game 6, RJ, but most of the postseason he was really good, outside of Game 6 of the Miami series and the first 2 games of the Cleveland series. So I think RJ Barrett is back, but I won't be shocked if he's traded as long as what they're getting back is a superstar. But yeah, just similar to Philly, except I feel pretty good about this. Jalen Brunson's the only player that's guaranteed to be on this team next year, in my opinion. Meanwhile, Philly, I don't think anybody's guaranteed to be back on the team. Golden State, the only person guaranteed back on the team is Curry. So I should have said, like Golden State, not really like Philly. I mean, I think the safest bet to be the most likely guy back on the Sixers is probably Embiid, but you could talk me into Maxey if Embiid demands a trade. But back to the Knicks. Tom Thibodeau, I think, deserves to come back. I think he did a good job this season outside the Miami series. But the Miami series, Eric Spoelstra is a Hall of Fame coach. Not many coaches will outcoach Eric Spoelstra. Eric Spoelstra is the best coach left in the NBA playoffs, by far. Darvin Ham's a rookie coach, but he's done a nice job. Joe Mazzulla is easily the worst coach left in the playoffs, although he did a decent job over the weekend and on Thursday night. And Mike Malone's an excellent coach, but there were hot seat rumors about him going into the postseason, but I think that with them in the Western Finals, he should be off the hot seat now. But yeah, Spo's easily the best coach left in the playoffs. So I think Thibodeau was outcoached because of who was on the other side. Any other playoff series, I think he probably outcoaches Joe Mazzulla. He probably even outcoaches Doc Rivers, although that's even, in my opinion. He probably would have outcoached Darvin Ham because Ham's a rookie. He probably doesn't outcoach Steve Kerr. But yeah, there's not many coaches that will outcoach Tom Thibodeau, and I think Tom Thibodeau is a top 10 coach in the league. There's people calling for his job, but I think people are just doing that because MSG's hockey team fired its head coach last weekend, or 2 weekends ago. So that's what had people thinking, the Knicks should fire Tibbs because the Rangers fired Jordan Gallant. But all in all, a very good year for the Knicks. I'm wondering to see what happens. Do they trade for a star? But I don't think that this same nucleus should be back. Julius Randle, I think, will be traded for somebody better or for pieces that they could package together to go get that star. So either way, Julius Randle will be a big part of the Knicks' search for a superstar. He'll be the lead asset in a deal in return for somebody. And then the Phoenix Suns we talked about the other day. And Kevin Durant's the other player that with James Harden's like you trade for him and they don't change a goddamn thing. The Suns get blown out yet again in the playoffs and you trade for Kevin Durant. I mean, I understand Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton were both out, but Chris Paul's washed up at this point in his career, and DeAndre Ayton was playing poorly in these entire playoffs. So that's ridiculous to use that as an excuse. And the way Devin Booker acted was so poorly. So I just wanted to discuss that again on the podcast. All right, the Stanley Cup playoffs. We did a lot of NBA because a lot of teams got eliminated. But we have to do a lot of hockey, too, because some teams got eliminated. I'm going to rip two of them that got eliminated. But first we have to go over results from the weekend and look ahead to a Game 7 tonight. So Friday night, Panthers over to Maple Leafs, 3-2 in overtime on a game winner by Nick Cousins as the Panthers advance to the conference finals for the first time in their history, if I'm not mistaken. The number 3 started game with the overtime winner, Nick Cousins. Number 2 started game with the goal. Morgan Riley, number 1, started game with 50 saves on 52 shots. Sergei Bobrovsky owning up to that contract in a big way. Golden Knights over to Oilers, 4-3 to take a 3-2 series lead. Number 3 started game with 3 assists. Jonathan Marchessault. Number 2 started game with a goal and 2 assists. Jack Eichel. Number 1 started game with a goal. Riley Smith. Saturday, Game 6, Kraken over the Stars 6-3 to force a Game 7. Good on the Kraken. The number 3 started game with a goal and assist, Matty Beniers. Number 2 started game with a goal and assist, Yanni Goudreau. Number 1 started game with a goal and 2 assists, Eli Tolvanen. Whoo! That was a former Predators prospect that didn't really pan out, and now he's playing well in the playoffs. And then yesterday, the Golden Knights over the Oilers 5-2 to advance to the Western Conference Finals as they'll take on the winner of tonight's Game 7 between the Stars and the Kraken. The number 3 star of the game with the goal, Warren Foegele. Number 2 started game with 38 saves on 40 shots. Aiden Hill, and the number 1 started game with a hat trick, Jonathan Marchessault. Alrighty. Golden Knights back in the conference finals for the 4th time in 6 years in their franchise history, which is amazing, if you ask me. So they played the Winnipeg Jets once in the conference finals. And they won. And then the other three two times they lost. This would be their 4th time. They lost to Montreal in the bubble. And then they lost to the Dallas Stars. No, the Dallas Stars was the bubble, so they might get a bubble rematch in the Western Finals, which would be kind of cool. And then they lost to Montreal in 21 in the year the divisions were realigned in that post-COVID year. And this is their first conference finals in 2 years, and then they missed the playoffs the 1 year, and then the other year they lost to San Jose, and then the year they made the finals, they beat Winnipeg and lost to the Caps in the finals in 5 games. All right. Post-mortems. We'll start with the New Jersey Devils. We didn't do a Devils post-mortem on the podcast on Friday, but we'll do it now. The Devils' excellent season. You can't say it was a failed season for the New Jersey Devils. They had a very successful season. Lindy Ruff has to be up there for the Jack Adams Award. It has to be him or Dave Haxtell that's got to win. If Jim Montgomery wins, that's ridiculous. They are playoff chokers, and they had a talented roster, and that's the reason why they won the President's Trophy. And, he deserves credit, but the Bruins were already a good team, and New Jersey and Seattle both overachieved this season, and those coaches have done better jobs than Jim Montgomery. And I'm talking about Lindy Ruff and Dave Haxtell. But anyway, a great season for the New Jersey Devils. But Lindy Ruff's not guaranteed to be back. His contract's up after the season. Will the Devils extend him, or do they notice, maybe the Rangers are worse than we thought and Carolina exposed us? Do we just promote Andrew Burnett? I'm not going to kill the Devils if they let Lindy Ruff go and promote Andrew Burnett. But if they let Lindy Ruff go and hire one of these retreats out there like Joel Quenneville or somebody like that, then people are going to be scratching their heads. If they extend Lindy, he deserves it because he did a good job this year. So we'll see what happens with New Jersey. I think that they're going to be in play for some of these big free agents. I think they need some depth. I think that they have the assets to trade for somebody that's not happy. But there are some big free agents this year in hockey, and I think that New Jersey is going to be a desired destination now with Jack Hughes' emergence into superstardom and the fact that they made the second round this year. So good on New Jersey. Excellent season. All right, the Leafs. Just yet another fucking failure for this franchise. And yet again, we're back to the conversation. If you add a big name, it doesn't really make a freaking difference. John Tavares, add that to the list. Patrick Kane, Vlad Tarasenko, John Tavares, James Harden, Giancarlo Stanton, And the list goes on and on and on. But yeah, doesn't change a thing about the Maple Leafs. You signed John Tavares and you're still not even making the conference finals, and you lost to a team that underachieved in the regular season. Granted, they won the President's Trophy last season, but a lot of things changed with the Panthers. They traded Jonathan Huberdeau for Matt Tkachuk, and that changed their team for the better come playoff time. And now look where the Panthers are. So I think the Leafs are going to make changes. I think Austin Matthews is a free agent. Which is crazy. So he's a free agent in 23-24. So, we'll see what happens with Austin Matthews. I don't think they're going to trade him. He's a franchise player. And, I think they're going to do everything to keep him. If anything, I think the other guys are in play to get moved, including Tavares, who, are we sure he's still a superstar? He's in that same conversation as Patrick Kane for me right now. And even, and Vlad Tarasenko too. He's in that conversation with those two players. Are they still superstars? Claude Giroux. I don't think he's a star anymore. Evgeny Malkin is in that conversation. I don't think that I'm there yet with Sidney Crosby or Alex Ovechkin. Those two are all-timers and are still superstars until we see them deteriorate. I feel the same way about LeBron in the NBA and Steph. But John Tavares belongs in this group with like Patrick Kane and Vlad Tarasenko and Claude Giroux and Evgeny Malkin. There's a couple I could list on the top of my head. Are we sure they're still superstars? Mitch Marner, is he a trade candidate? William Nylander? I think they'll keep Morgan Riley around, but yeah, failure season for the Maple Leafs, especially with Boston losing to Florida, and now the Leafs lost to Florida, and two of those games went to overtime. The Leafs could have easily won both those games, and they could be up 3-2 in the series with a chance to close out Florida in a Game 6, but no. Just yet another disappointing finish to another Leafs season. And last but not least, the Edmonton Oilers. This is arguably a bigger failure than the Maple Leafs. The reality of the situation for the Oilers is that they're a two-man team. Nobody wants to hear that, but they're a two-man team. Their goalie, that was a finalist for the Calder Trophy, Stuart Skinner. That was a McDavid product. He was bad in the playoffs. Jack Campbell did not live up to that contract. Or maybe that's the next Bobrovsky contract where he doesn't own up to the contract until later on. Like we're seeing with Bobrovsky now with Florida. But you never know with Jack Campbell. But just yet another failure for the Edmonton Oilers. Those top two aren't going anywhere. But I think everything else is on the table. Jay Woodcroft, I think there's a chance he's fired. And I think there's a chance, I didn't even talk about this with the Maple Leafs. I think there's a chance that Sheldon Keefe is let go. I really do. I think it's more likely Sheldon Keefe gets fired than Jay Woodcroft, but Jay Woodcroft's job has to be in question. The Oilers are a dysfunctional franchise. They've always been. And I wouldn't put it past them to do anything. I think all these Canadian franchises are dysfunctional. All of them. And Edmonton probably is the most dysfunctional of all of them, amazingly enough. And Ottawa's going through ownership change, and they've been a mess for a while. But Edmonton does dumber stuff than Ottawa. So I would not be surprised if Jay Woodcroft lost his job. What a failure for Edmonton. I know they weren't the higher seed, but they were big favorites to beat the Golden Knights in that series, and they failed to do so. And now Vegas is back in the Western Final, as we talked about earlier in the segment. We do have a Game 7 tonight that we have to pick. 8 o'clock, ESPN, Kraken Stars. Is it true that Dallas is that big of a favorite? That's wild. The Dallas Stars should not be that big of a favorite. Listen, they're good. They deserve to be favored, but they shouldn't be over minus 200 in that game. That's ridiculous. Yeah, minus 210. Kraken plus 172. Over under 5.5. Over is minus 128. Under is plus 104. Kraken plus 1.5 is minus 140. Stars minus 1.5 is plus 116. For this one, I'm going under 5.5 goals at plus 104. I think that Jake Ottinger and Philip Grubauer will both step up and live up to the back of their hockey cards. Game 7s are usually more tense. This is the Kraken's first Game 7. Or did they play in Game 7 in the last round? Wait, they did play a Game 7 in the last round. They won a Game 7 at Colorado. Yeah, they did. Never mind. It's their second Game 7. The Dallas Stars, they've had some experience in Game 7s on their roster. But I think it's an under 5.5 plus 104. Gunpoint Dallas wins. They're just a better team. Ottinger, I really like. He'll bounce back. Grubauer will play well too, but it won't be enough. I won't be shocked if this game goes to overtime. I'm excited for this one. All right, Major League Baseball. We'll go over the results from the weekend and look ahead to the slate for today. All right, Friday. Reds over the Marlins 7-4. Mariners over the Tigers 9-2. Mets over the Nats 3-2. Yanks over the Rays 5-6 or 6-5. O's over the Pirates 6-3. Blue Jays over the Braves 3-0. Angels over the Guardians 5-4. Cards over the Red Sox 8-6. Cubs over the Twins 6-2. Astros over the White Sox 5-1. Brewers over the Royals 5-1. Phils over the Rockies 6-3. D-backs over the Giants 7-5. A's over the Rangers 9-7-10 on a walk-off home run by Brent Rooker. And the Dodgers over the Padres 4-2. Saturday, Yanks over the Rays 9-8. Reds over the Marlins 6-5. Mariners over the Tigers 5-0. Twins over the Cubs 11-1. Blue Jays over the Braves 5-2. Nats over the Mets 3-2. Rangers over the A's 5-0. Cards over the Red Sox 4-3. Guardians over the Angels 8-6. O's over the Pirates 2-0. Brewers over the Royals 4-3. White Sox over the Astros 3-1. Dodgers over the Padres 4-2. D-backs over the Giants 7-2. Phils over the Rockies 7-4. And then Sunday, we mentioned the Nats over the Mets game. This was a suspended game from Saturday. Guardians over the Angels 4-3. Rays over the Yankees 8-7. Pirates over the O's 4-0. Jays over the Braves 6-5. Marlins over the Reds 3-1. Tigers over the Mariners 5-3. Twins over the Cubs 16-3. Astros over the White Sox 4-3. Brewers over the Royals 6-9. Rockies over the Phillies 4-0. Rangers over the A's 11-3. Dodgers over the Padres 4-0. Diamondbacks over the Giants 2-1. Mets over the Nats 8-2. And technically the second game. And the Cards over the Red Sox 9-1. All right, today's games. Not many. There's some teams with game with the day off. 4 o'clock, Mets, Nats, matinee game. David Peterson and Patrick Corbin. Mets minus 162, Nats plus 136, over under 9.5, minus 10 each way. Mets minus 1.5 is plus 104, Nats plus 1.5 is minus 125. Patrick Corbin, ZRA is under 5. But I still think he sucks. My pick for this one is going to be the full game over 9.5 at minus 110. 6:30, I have the Angels at the Orioles. Shohei Ohtani against Grayson Rodriguez. Angels minus 134, O's plus 114, over under 8, overs minus 106, unders minus 114. Angels -1/2 is +126. O's +1/2 is -152. I'm going with the Orioles trade up at +114. 7 o'clock, Yanks Blue Jays. Johnny Burrito and Alek Manoah. Jays -168. Yanks +142 over under 9. Overs -122. Unders even money. Yanks +1/2 is -142. Jays -1/2 is +180 or +118. So ESPN says Johnny Burrito. FanDuel says TBD. But for this one, I'm going to go with the Blue Jays run line -1/2 at +118. Mariners Red Sox. George Kirby and Tanner Houck. Mariners -124. Red Sox +106 over under 10. Overs -105. Unders -115. Mariners -1/2 is +136. Red Sox +1/2 is -164. For this one, I'm going to go with under 4.5 Red Sox runs -108. 7:45 Brewers Cardinals. Freddie Peralta and Jack Flaherty. Cardinals with a big series win over the weekend to kind of see if they can get back into it. So, big series for them coming up. They're at home underdog at -102. The Brewers are favored -116 over under 8. Overs -112. Unders -108. Brewers -1/2 is +140. Cards +1/2 is -170. For this one, I'm going to go with the Brewers as a slight road favorite at -116. 8 o'clock, Braves Rangers. Charlie Morton and Cody Bradford making his season debut. Braves -154. Rangers +130 over under 9. Overs -120. Unders -102. Braves -1/2 is +106. Rangers +1/2 is -128. For this one, I'm going to go with the Braves run line -1/2 at +106 because the over's too juicy. Same for the reasons for the Blue Jays. Cubs Astros. Jameson Taillon Framber Valdez. Astros kind of turning around a little bit. Houston's -184. Chicago's +154 over under 7.5. Overs -115. Unders -105. Cubs +1/2 is -132. Astros -1/2 is +110. For this one, I'm going to go with under 3 Cubs runs at even money. The Cubs have kind of fallen off after their good start. 8:30 Reds Rockies. Hunter Green and Connor Siebold. Reds -120. Rockies +102 over under 11. Overs -115. Unders -105. Reds -1/2 is +116. Rockies +1/2 is -140. Full game under. D-backs A's at 9:30. Merrill Kelly and Drew Rosinski. D-backs -215. A's +180 over under 9 -1 each way. D-backs -1/2 is -130. A's +1/2 is +108. For this one, I'm going to go with under 3.5 A's runs -114. Royals Padres. Brad Keller, Michael Wacha. Padres -20. Royals +184 over under 9 -1 each way. Royals +1/2 and Padres -1/2 is -110 each way as well. I'm going to go full game over, but I don't feel good about it. 9:45 Phil's Giants. Bailey Falter, Alex Wood. Giants -116. Phil's -102 over under 9. Overs -105. Unders -115. Phil's -1/2 is +164. Giants +1/2 is -100. Philly's favored on the run, the run line. Giants favored on the money line. I'm taking San Fran straight up -116. And last but not least, 10 o'clock Twins Dodgers. Pablo Lopez and Noah Syndergaard. Dodgers -118. Twins even money over under 8.5. Overs -122. Unders even money. Twins -1/2 is +150. Dodgers +1/2 is -182. I'm going to go with the Twins at even money to win outright. All right, now move on to soccer. Going over the results from the weekend of notable things going on. And we do have some soccer going on today as well. We'll start with the English Premier League. Saturday, Leeds and Newcastle 2-2 draw. Aston Villa over Tottenham 2-1. Chelsea Nottingham Forest 2-2 draw. Crystal Palace over Bournemouth 2-0. Man United over Wolves 2-0. Fulham over Southampton 2-0. Sunday, Brentford over West Ham 2-0. Man City over Everton 3-0. Brighton over Arsenal 3-0. 3 o'clock today, you have Leicester and Liverpool. I expect Liverpool to be big favorites. Yeah, minus 165. Leicester's 4-1. Draws plus 340. For this one, I'm going to go over 3.5 goals at plus 118. All right, La Liga. Mallorca over Cadiz 1-0. Friday, Saturday, Real Sociedad and Girona 2-2 draw. Osasuna over Almeria 3-1. Villarreal over Athletic 5-1. Real Madrid over Getafe 1-0. Sunday, Valencia over Celta Vigo 2-1. Elche over Atletico 1-0. Sevilla over Valladolid 3-0. Barcelona over Espanyol 4-2. All right, today at 3 o'clock, you have Betis and Rayo. Betis is plus 105. Rayo's plus 260. Drops plus 230. I'm going to go with the draw at plus 230. Serie A from the weekend, Friday. Lazio and Lecce 2-2 draw. Saturday, Salernitana over Atalanta 1-0. Spezia over Milan 2-0. Inter Milan over Sassuolo 4-2. And Sunday, Torino over Verona 1-0. Fiorentina over Udinese 2-0. Monza over Napoli 2-0. Bologna, AS Roma 0-0 draw. Juventus over Cremonese 2-0. And then today, 2:45, you have Sampdoria and Empoli. Empoli plus 120, Sampdoria plus 230, draw plus 230. For this one, I'm going to go with Empoli on the road at plus 120. So UEFA's back tomorrow. MLS from the weekend. Saturday, Chicago over St. Louis 1-0. Charlotte over Atlanta 3-1. CF Montreal over Toronto 2-0. Columbus, Orlando 2-2 draw. DC United Nashville 1-1 draw. Miami over New England 2-1. Red Bulls over NYCFC 1-0. Dallas over Austin 1-0. Seattle over Houston 1-0. Kansas City over Minnesota 3-0. Philly over Colorado 2-1. LAFC over Salt Lake 3-0. Portland over Vancouver 3-1. And then Sunday, the Galaxy over San Jose 2-1. We have MLS on Wednesday, so we got to remember that for the Wednesday podcast. The Women's Soccer League, Friday, Louisville over Chicago 3-0, Houston over Portland 2-1. Saturday, Washington over Angel City 1-0. And then Sunday, North Carolina over All Reign 1-0. Gotham, Orlando 0-0 draw. San Diego over Kansas City 2-0. Liga MX, Saturday, Monterrey over Santos 2-0. They advanced 2-0 on aggregate. Now second leg, and then second leg, Athletic San Luis over America 2-1, but America advances 4-3 on aggregate. All right, Sunday second legs, Toluca over Tigres 3-1, but Tigres UANL advances 5-4 on aggregate. And second leg, Guadalajara over Atlas 1-0. Aggregates 1-1, but Guadalajara advanced for being the higher seed. So no Mexican Liga until Wednesday. All right, Bundesliga, Friday. Cologne over Hertha 5-2. Saturday, Union Berlin over Freiburg 4-2. Bayern over Schalke 6-0. Frankfurt over Mainz 3-0. Bochum over Augsburg 3-2. Wolfsburg over Hoffenheim 2-1. Dortmund over Gladbach 5-2. Sunday, Stuttgart, Leverkusen 1-1 draw. RB Leipzig over Bremen 2-1. We already did Serie A and La Liga. French League, Friday, Lens over Reims 2-1. Saturday, Strasbourg over Nice 2-0. PSG over AC Ajaccio 5-0. Sunday, Clermont Foot over Lyon 2-1. Brest over Auxerre 1-0. Montpellier Laurent 1-1 draw. Rennes over Troyes 4-0. Toulouse Nantes 0-0 draw. Monaco Lille 0-0 draw. Marseille over Angers 3-1. And then English League Championship Saturday. Sunderland over Luton 2-1 first leg. And then Sunday, Coventry Borough 0-0 draw first leg. ELC resumes Tuesday. And then the Dutch Eredivisie Friday. FC Twente over NEC 4-0. Saturday, FC Volendam over Sparta 2-1. Heerenveen Excelsior 0-0 draw. FC Utrecht over RKC Waldwijk 2-0. And then Sunday, Vitesse over Cambuur 2-0. Feyenoord over the Go Ahead Eagles 3-0. AC Alkmaar over Emmen 5-1. PSV over Fortuna 2-1. We have games on Tuesday coming up, so that is very interesting in that league. All right, now move on to golf. The results from the AT&T Byron Nelson, which is the tune-up for the PGA Championship for some of these guys. Your winner with the score of 23 under, Jason Day. Tied for second with 22 under, Austin Eckroat and Siwoo Kim. Fourth with 21 under, CT Pond. Tied for fifth with 20 under, Tyrrell Hatton, Scotty Scheffler, and Zheng Du. Tied for eighth with 19 under, Adam Scott, Victor Norman, and my pick of Ryan Palmer. Tied for 11th with 18 under, Kevin Tway, Richie Rensky, and Stefan Yeager. Tied for 14th with 17 under, Mackenzie Hughes, Carson Young, Peter Kust, Byung Ganon, and Sangun Kang. Tied for 19th with 16 under, Seamus Power, Joseph Bramlett, Scott Piercy, Doug Gim. Tied for 23rd with 15 under, Alex Baddeley, Christian Ziedenhout, Nate Lashley, Hideki Matsuyama, Trevor Cohn, Brandon Wu, Eric Cole. Tied for 30th with 14 under, Pat Gazier, Doc Redman, Matthew Neesmith, and Grayson Higo. Tied for 34th with 13 under, Henrik Norlander, Stuart Sink, Luke List, Tom Kim, Adam Hadwin, Scott Stevens, Augusto Nunez, Martin Lair, and Tanner Guinea. Tied for 43rd with 12 under, Sangmoon Bae, Matt Kuchar, Sodi Kudiara, Jonathan Bird, Taylor Hogue, Robbie Shelton, Justin Lauer. Tied for 50th with 11 under. Pretty decent sized tie. James Hahn, Chris Stroud, Cam Champ, Chad Ramey, Aaron Weiss, Adam Lunk, Estelonzo Goya, Sean O'Hare, Scott Harrington, Kyung-Gu Lee, Taylor Montgomery, Ryan Moore, Seung-Gu Kim, and Harrison Endicott. Tied for 64th with 10 under, Robert Brem, William McGirt, and Parker Cootie. Now we're going to go through notables. Tied for 67th with 9 under, Andrew Novak, Robert Streb. Tied for 70th with 8 under, Will Gordon, Joaquin Herman, Davis Thompson. Tied for 74th with 7 under, Sengil No, Jimmy Walker. Tied for 77th with 6 under, Bryce Garnett. Tied for 79th with 4 under, Vincent Whaley, Kelly Craft, Roger Sloan, Lucas Glover. Tied for 83rd with 3 under, Harry Hall and Brent Grant. And among those cut, Austin Cook, Grayson Sieg, Charlie Hoffman, Davis Lipsky, Adam Schenk, Matthias Schwab, Kevin Roy, David Riley, Dylan Fratelli, Dylan Wu, Michael Giljic, Ryan Moore, Ben Griffin, DJ Trent, Matt McNeely, Tyson Alexander, Aaron Ray, Austin Smotherman, Bo Van Pelt, Russell Knox, Trey Molinax, Scott Brown, Kevin Stradler, Jason Henley, JJ Colleen, Evan Van Royen, Kyle Stanley, Tyler Duggan, Scott Stallings, Wesley Bryan, Harry Higgs, Cam Percy, Matt Trainer, Nate Watney, Max McGravy, Jason Duffner, Kramer Hickok, Kevin Westmoreland, MJ Dauphe, Matthias Schmid, Ben Crane, Andrew Landry, DA Points, Trey Merritt. And now move on to NASCAR. We'll go over the results from the weekend. We'll start with the trucks from Darlington. Your winner is Christian X, coming in second, Stuart Friesen, third, Tanner Gray, fourth, William Byron. 5th, Carson Hocevar. 6th, Roger Carruth. 7th, Bubba Wallace. 8th, Corey Heim. 9th, Dean Thompson. And 10th, Caden Honeycutt. The rest, Nick Sanchez, Matt Crafton, Ross Chastain, Grant Effinger, Tanner Ankrum, Corey LaJoie, Colby Howard, Ben Rhodes, Daniel Dye, Haley Deegan, Tanner Gray, Zane Smith, Brett Holmes, Timmy Hill, Matt DiBenedetto, Jake Garcia, Ryan Vargas, Johnny Sauter, Chris Wright, Lawless Allen, Ty Majeski, Chase Purdy, Spencer Boyd, Parker Kligerman, Dawson Cram, and Brennan Poole. Xfinity from Darlington, your winner, Kyle Larson. Coming in 2nd, Justin Allgaier. 3rd, Cole Custer. 4th, Austin Hill. 5th, John Hunter Nemechek. 6th, Carson Hocevar. 7th, Josh Berry. 8th, Sam Meyer. 9th, Kaz Gralla. 10th, Corey Heim. The rest, Sammy Smith, Jeb Burton, Parker Kligerman, Jeremy Clements, Anthony Alfredo, Daniel Hemrick, Josh Williams, Ross Chastain, Ty Dillon, Brett Moffitt, Parker Emmerling, Stefan Parsons, Brendan Poole, Parker Retzlaff, Sheldon Creed, Jeffrey Earnhardt, Ryan Sieg, Matt Mills, Greg Galding, Kyle Sieg, Sage Karam, Joe Graff Jr., Ryan Ellis, Brandon Jones, Ryan Truex, Chandler Smith, Blaine Perkins, and Riley Herbst. And the Cup Series from Darlington. Winning the race, William Byron. So that's a surprise-ish winner. 2nd, Kevin Harvick. 3rd, Chase Elliott. 4th, Brad Keselowski. 5th, Bubba Wallace. 6th, Harrison Burton. 7th, Kyle Busch. 8th, Justin Haley. 9th, Ryan Blaney. 10th, Chris Buescher. The rest, Todd Gilliland, Denny Hamlin, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Chris Bell, Ryan Preece, Ty Gibbs, Chase Briscoe, Joey Logano, Austin Cindric, Kyle Larson, Eric Almirola, Tyler Reddick, AJ Allmendinger, Corey LaJoie, Eric Jones, Noah Gragson, Ty Dillon, Ryan Newman, Ross Chastain, Josh Berry, Martin Truex Jr., BJ McLeod, Michael McDowell, Daniel Suarez, Austin Dillon, and Brendan Poole. All right, American Idol. It was an interesting show last night with the Disney show. We will recap it. So the mentor for this episode was Sophia Carson. Opening the show, the top 5 performed with Sarah Bareilles, When You Wish Upon a Star from Pinocchio, which was really awesome to see. Round 1. And the irony here is that they went in the same order. Weani went first, and she performed Into the Unknown from Frozen 2. I thought she was outstanding. Her dress was beautiful. 2nd was Zachariah Smith. He performed I Just Can't Wait to Be King from The Lion King. I didn't like this performance. I thought it was too kiddish for him. Colin Stowell performed Real Gone from Cars. I thought he did a nice job. Megan Danielle performed You Can't Stop the Girl from Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. So, that performance was really good. And then, of course, Ian Tongi performing Lava from Lava, which was really, really good. Round 2, Weani performed The Climb from the Hannah Montana movie by Miley Cyrus. I thought that was the best performance of the night. She was outstanding. And then Halle Bailey, who is the actress in the new Little Mermaid movie playing Ariel, she performed Part of Your World. I thought she was really good. Zachariah went next. He performed Life is a Highway from Cars. He was much better in that performance than he was with the Lion King performance. Colin performed Nobody Knows from Pete's Dragon. I thought he was really good in that performance. Megan Danielle performed Carry Me With You from Onward. She was outstanding. Then Ian Tongi performed Father and Son from Guardians of the Galaxy. And that was outstanding as well. All right, your top 3. Colin Stow, Megan Danielle, and Ian Tongi. Congrats to those three. You knew Ian was getting in. That was a no-brainer. The question was, who were the other two going to be? I had a feeling Megan Danielle was going to sneak in there, and she was really, really good last night, and she's improved as the season's gone on. And then Colin got in over Wiani, which is where I disagree. I thought Wiani belonged, but I guess the voters like Colin just a little more. And then Zachariah, I knew Zachariah was going home. It was the question as who was joining him and going home for good. But Ian, Megan, and Colin is your top three. Tonight they have an episode. It's the road to the finale. And I think it's just going to be a 1 hour show talking about each contestant. Maybe one performance, who knows. But the finale's loaded. 3 hour show next week. A ton of big names in it, as Ryan revealed on last night's show. So, if we have time on tomorrow's show, we'll talk about the journey to the finale episode. If not, we'll talk about it on Friday. Now we'll move on to news and notes for today. This is going to be about as rapid fire as news and notes can ever get. Doesn't matter where we're actually going to start. Very quickly. Hart Trophy finalists Connor McDavid, David Pastrnak, and Matt Tkachuk. Well deserved. McDavid's going to win it, though. So, Eli Manning, there was a video of him drinking from the Stanley Cup. So, that's really funny. Doc Rivers with an interesting quote after Monty Williams is firing. Don't win Coach of the Year. That's funny. Joel Embiid, we talked about his we can't win alone quote already. That was ridiculous. And then Damian Lillard was confused. He retweeted that. And then Joel Embiid was quoting Giannis after the game, which was ridiculous. Draymond Green came out with a podcast after the Warriors were eliminated. Just coming down now, the Bucks are eyeing Monty Williams. That's not surprising. All the teams that don't have coaches will be eyeing him. He's the top prize. And then the Bucks also interviewed former Warriors coach and current ESPN analyst Mark Jackson, which that would not be a good hire. James Harden, short answer on his relationship with Doc Rivers. Our relationship is okay. What does okay mean? Mediocre? It's not bad? Shaky? Also, candidates for the Suns job are Mike Budenholzer and Nick Nurse. Imagine if Budenholzer was coaching the Suns and Monty was coaching Milwaukee. That was like a trade. Bob Myers torn about future. Not surprised. The Suns are also pursuing Tyronn Lue from the Clippers. That'd be really crazy. John Morant. This has to be addressed. He was yet again seen on Instagram Live with a gun. Did this guy not learn? Did he not freaking learn his lesson? This is very disappointing. As he was suspended from all team activities pending league review after he allegedly flashed a gun on Instagram Live. Very disappointing. And the Grizzlies got to be Just absolutely appalled and disgusted with his behavior. It's like the rehab never freaking helped him. This guy obviously needs help. He's hanging out with the wrong people. He's immature. He's not a leader. Hey, maybe if the Grizzlies had an adult in the room, maybe John Morant wouldn't be doing this kinds of crap. So, very disappointing from somebody that's a superstar. And hopefully he gets help. And he's obviously going to be suspended to start next season. If I have an early bet that I want to make is whatever the odds are of the Grizzlies not making the postseason next year. Just throwing that out there for the early future they might bet on. That might work itself into the portfolio come the fall. Jason Tatum was having fun in Game 7 with his 51 points. As he had 38, he was trash talking. He said, "This is my shit." And Ben Simmons got very cozy watching his old team lose in Game 7, as he posted on social. And then Dwight Howard trolled Chris Paul as he's recruiting him to Taiwan. Anthony Edwards says he's chasing his boy MJ. He wants to be the best shooting guard of all time. Yeah, good luck with that. The Warriors are optimistic that they can keep Draymond Green if he opts out of the final year of his deal. And then the Warriors are hesitant to trade Jordan Poole, according to Shams. And Draymond says he wants to be a Warrior. We talked about the Suns firing Monty Williams, which was ridiculous. And how I really think Matt Ishbia, the new owner, is just impatient. I think that was a big overreaction to them losing Game 6. And I think he overreacted to them losing the other Game 6 as well at Dallas. And that's why I feel he made that change. And then and the Suns also fired an executive and 2 scouts. And then Chris Paul says, "I'm not the GM. We'll see in terms of whether he'll return to the Suns or not." And then the Suns are also seeking a younger long-term replacement for CP3, including Fred VanVleet and Terry Rozier. The former makes more sense than the latter. The Suns to explore a DeAndre Ayton trade. And Ayton says, "I love Phoenix," and he talks about blocking outside noise during exit interview. Josh Hart's wife had twins as he almost missed Game 6. Knicks guard Evan Fournier expects to be traded. He said he would be very surprised if he's not dealt in the offseason. And this is just immature of Knicks fans. Knicks fans outside the Garden were not happy with Julius Randle's performance as they stomp the poster outside MSG. That's ridiculous. That is losers. Those are spoiled brats. You don't do that. Yeah, it's okay to be upset with the player on your team's performance, but you don't go out and tear up property. Like, that's not nice. I wouldn't do that if I were a fan. Well, I am a fan of the Knicks, but that's not something I would do. Andrew Wiggins, after speculation he's going to miss Game 6, played in Game 6. There was a brawl in the Philly Rockies game yesterday. Bryce Harper had to be held back, and he said some nasty things to the Rockies. It looked like he said something about, "You're a trash organization." Lars Nootbaar gets emotional during an interview after realizing his mom was live on the other end as she surprised Nootbaar. Joe Musgrove says that we can beat the Dodgers. He goes, "Tired of hearing that shit." Aaron Judge almost hit a game-tying home run yesterday with 2 outs in the ninth, and the Tampa pitcher thought it was out. I thought it was out based on the pitch reaction alone. I saw the closer on the Rays make that reaction. I'm like, oh, the Yankees just tied the game. They're going to win the series against the Rays. But nope. The outfielder catches the ball at the warning track, and Judge misses a game-tying home run by inches. Drew Rasmussen to the 60-day DL with a elbow injury. Brutal injury. Looks like he's going to be out for the year. He was a big part of the Rays starting great to the year. And if you were to bet on somebody to win the AL East, that's not the Rays, now's the time to do it. Or the time to do it was when the Rays were undefeated and minus 145 to win the East. You got to do it now before the odds get crazier. Ryan Feltner of the Rockies was hit in the head by a line drive during Saturday's game against the Phillies, and he has a skull fracture. That's not good. Hopefully he gets well soon. Yuri Perez threw a gem in his MLB debut, became the youngest player with 7 strikeouts in a big league debut since David Clyde in 1973. El Clasico at AT&T Stadium. Barcelona against Real Madrid is coming to Arlington on July 29th, so that's pretty cool. Ex-Duke signee Mackenzie Mbako goes to Indiana as he picks them over Kansas, among others. The Commanders were officially sold to the Josh Harris Group, including Magic Johnson. That's great news for football fans, the Commanders, the league. Very happy for them. I trust that group a lot. And then Magic's very happy about it. The Browns acquire Zadarius Smith from the Vikings as they send Minnesota 2024 fifth, a 2025 fifth. As they also get back a 25 sixth and a 25 seventh. So I think the better end of the trade was for Cleveland. They get a pass rusher. He was still pretty good. The Vikings are willing to hold on to Dalvin Cook's $14 million cap hit until they figure out his future. The Jets and Aaron Rodgers are reworking the contract, so that's good. The hottest ticket right now is the Patriots home opener, which is the return of Tom Brady, as they're going to be honoring him. It's against the Eagles. Most expensive ticket of the season, with an average price of $807. Hurts gets a master's degree from Oklahoma, so that's pretty cool. Gibbs shuts down the draft critics as he doesn't care about being a reach at 12 overall. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Well, I'm sorry, it's not an opinion. It's a fucking fact that he was overdrafted. It's a fact that he was overdrafted. It's a rare instance where he thinks an opinion, but no, it's really a freaking fact. You were overdrafted. Everybody and their mother knew it. And what the Lions should have did was kept the pick and taken Bijan Robinson. That's a better outcome. Yeah, people would have criticized that too, but Bijan Robinson is more likely to be a Pro Bowl player that helps you potentially go to a Super Bowl than Gibbs at 12. I know they got stuff back for that, but Bijan Robinson's better than Jahmyr Gibbs, and Gibbs should have been a second-round pick. Javonte Williams expected back by camp, as Sean Payton says that the rehab is going very well, and he should be ready for the start of training camp. Yeah, the Broncos really do need him back. His injury really screwed things up for them last year. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. I know it was a long show today. A lot of postmortems that we had to go over as well. But today's best bet, I'm actually going to go to soccer again because there wasn't really anything I liked in baseball. I'm going to go with Empoli at plus 120 for a unit against Sampdoria. So 1 unit on Empoli plus 120 against Sampdoria. All right, so that's it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything, looking at everything tomorrow as well. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, everyone.